I'm just trying to exercise my First Amendment rights. It's a political year. A lot of people are not super happy with the candidates, and we can express those in, whatever way we see fit.
And she did. Julie Pereira tells me she put out this sign, F them both, 2024, back in January, referring to the November presidential election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Within a couple of days, I had a notification from the city that my political sign with some vulgarity or some profanity on it was in violation of the city of Lakeland's sign ordinance.
That 45-page ordinance prohibits signs with statements of an obscene, indecent, or immoral character which would offend public morals or decency. Pereira at first compromised with the city by redacting a letter in the profane part of the sign, but after arguing back and forth, that's when the legal battle started.
The city decided they didn't want to settle.
She wanted the city to withdraw the fine and refund the fees, plus she wants to keep the sign in the yard unredacted. The city said no, so they went to court, where a judge declared the speech wasn't protected.
He also basically threatened me with jail time if I came back into his court for a sign violation.
Because they've seen this before, like when Pereira put up this sign last Christmas saying the blank is full. But this time Pereira wasn't backing down, so she appealed and won. The court saying Lakeland was violating Pereira's right to free speech, ordering the city to stand down and pay up more than $30 grand for her trouble. Pereira tells me besides some comments from neighbors and the community at large, there wasn't much tension during her litigation battle with the city, despite her neighborhood being across the street from City Hall. Pereira tells me she did this battle not only for herself, but for anyone who wished to express their views.
I've had people online say, oh, well, this was so selfish of you so that you can put this sign up in your yard and have it say what you want. This was never about just me.
Pereira claims she just wanted to make a difference and inspire change.
I just saw down the line, I was concerned about if we don't put a stop to this now, when is the city going to stop? What else do they believe that they have a right to regulate?
In Lakeland, Brian Ditlake, WREG.
Yeah, former sheriff's deputies Michael Noel and Henry Trujillo are facing 5 charges. That includes assault, official misconduct, and failure to intervene. Tonight, the Espinosa family attorney tells KRDO 13 investigates the filing of these charges feels like justice.
Stop it now! Get up! Now! Get out!
What happened this day was unacceptable. The actions of this department are unacceptable.
You need to settle down. Get in the car! Get in the car!
In November 2022, Deputy Michael Noel pulled over Nathaniel Espinosa. His father, Kenneth, pulled off the road behind the traffic stop.
Get in the car!
Body cam footage shows Trujillo approaching Kenneth's car and asking him to leave the scene.
My son right there, he was following me. Okay, he's on a traffic stop, so you don't need to be behind it.
But when Kenneth does eventually try and leave, the deputies escalate the situation. They pull Kenneth out of his truck, cuff him, then tase him while he's getting in the back of a squad car. A short time later, Trujillo pulls Kenneth out of the car, trying to get his ID.
Get out of the car now!
Deputies initially charged Kenneth with resisting arrest and assault of a peace officer, but those charges are now dismissed. The Los Animas County Sheriff's Office fired the pair last year. Then in March, county officials settled a lawsuit with the Espinosas for $1.5 million.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. That was a pretty good way to start out the day with those Los Animas cops getting charged. I bet they're really worried, as they should be. This guy looks really worried, as he should be. What's going on with this guy? Former officer arrested on additional charges, and it's not good for this guy. Hancock County man was arrested in Clear Lake on Tuesday for intimidation with a dangerous weapon and domestic abuse. Additional charges against the former, now, North Iowa police officer. Okay, the Clear Lake Police Department obtained arrest warrants for Benjamin S. Maiman, 28, of Duncan, on July 8th for intimidation with a dangerous weapon, a Class C felony, and domestic abuse assault, impeding the flow of air, an aggravated misdemeanor. Impeding the flow of air. On July 9th, Maiman was arrested at his residence without incident and taken to Cerro Gordo County Jail, and he's held without bond. Law enforcement said new charges Tuesday stem from information obtained during an investigation conducted by the department in April. Okay, That's that airflow situation. In April, Mayman was charged with domestic assault with strangulation, a Class D felony, and 4 counts of intimidation with a dangerous weapon. Class C felony. Law enforcement received a report that Mayman was assaulted. Oh, he had assaulted his former girlfriend on several occasions. Well, that's not too good. From September 2023 to February of this year, law enforcement found multiple instances of intimidation with a taser. Come on, cops and their tasers. Both incidents remain under investigation with no further information is going to be released. Mayman is a former Brit police officer who was fired in March. You're out of here. They knew it was coming down. Clear Lake Police Department was assisted by Saragordo County Attorney's Office during the investigation, and that's it on this guy. And we've got a lot of bad apples to get to, so let's get on with the show.
It's the last thing you'd expect to happen on the beach. All these people have been accidentally run over by the beach patrol, and it keeps happening. These Good Samaritans are lifting a lifeguard truck off 2 18-year-old teens who were laying on a large blanket in Daytona Beach. I spoke to Sophia Kapp's mother.
For my daughter, she got ran over by the underbody and her feet were up like this. And so that kind of caught her body and it made her do a somersault underneath the car. She also suffered a contusion in her spinal cord. She has a pinched nerve in her neck and she had a brain bleed.
The lifeguard who ran over her tells cops he was on his way to get food when he accidentally ran over the teens.
You see, I start to turn a little bit. I mean, you're straight. They're laying down. Yeah. I'm looking at the water. I just, it happened. I don't know. It's just a bad spot. I hear you.
It also happened to 66-year-old Sandy Schultz Peters in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This haunting image shows her sitting in her beach chair seconds before she was run over and killed instantly. Critics say lifeguards should not be driving around in large trucks sitting so high where they could easily miss a beachgoer laying on a blanket. Many beach communities have switched to smaller ATV-type vehicles that are lower to the ground.
Just forget about it. Leave your damn truck in the lot, get out, and walk.
Noreen Sidor was struck and seriously injured 4 years ago on the same stretch of sand in Myrtle Beach.
Nobody wakes up and says, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the beach, but this could be my last day.
There are steps you can take to avoid such tragedies. Retired Chief Lifeguard Janet Carbon has some important tips.
Go to your lifeguard stand and ask them where a good, safe place would be. Beachgoers, if they know they're going to come and sleep and relax and kind of chill out, go close to the water. Get a bright umbrella. Get a bright bathing suit. Get a bright towel.
But Noreen Sidor says it should not be up to the beachgoer.
Unless you want to coordinate yourself off in yellow tape. You know, here I am, don't come near me. A lawsuit
has been filed against the city of Omaha. It alleges police unlawfully arrested a woman who tried to stop them from entering her home without a search warrant. The heated incident caught on video by a neighbor. Mike McKnight has our 6 on Your Side investigation.
Yes, it was a work day.
Working from home 3 years ago, LaWanda Valentine Williams went to the porch after police responded to a domestic dispute that her son and his girlfriend had outside. But when LaWanda wanted inside, a federal lawsuit alleges an officer stood in the way.
There was an officer standing right here blocking my door, and she grabbed my arms to stop me from getting into my home.
LaWanda speculates police wanted to search her home for a gun because her son had been there, but she demanded to see a search warrant.
Show it to me! Show it to me!
A neighbor's video is evidence in a lawsuit filed by attorney Jason Bruno, who alleges police falsely represented they had a search warrant, but he says they didn't.
They obviously didn't have a warrant, which is why they asked her for consent to search the house. She said no. So instead, they handcuffed her. They dragged her off the porch onto the lawn.
The neighbor's video shows the 54-year-old woman cuffed and refusing to go quietly into a cruiser. But the lawsuit alleges police didn't take her to booking right away. The officer drove to this church parking lot about a block and a half away from the Williams home. And it's alleged that LaWanda sat in the back for an hour and a half in handcuffs.
I was scared to death. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. So I was just confused.
Eventually taking her to corrections on charges of obstruction of justice and resisting arrest.
telling officers that they can't search your home because you don't have a warrant is not obstructing justice or anything inappropriate or unlawful.
Gene Williams says his wife did nothing wrong.
I believe in the law system and everything, but if you can't produce a warrant or anything, I don't feel comfortable.
The filed response to the lawsuit says the city at all times acted in good faith to comply with all laws, with reasonable grounds to believe its actions did not violate constitutional rights. As for the arrest, if any force was used against the plaintiff, it was minimal and justified. The lawsuit by LaWanda Valentine Williams alleges no justification for police action that day.
They have a job to do, and so do I, and that's to protect my rights.
The lawsuit states that 4 months after her arrest, the prosecutor dismissed all charges. On your side near 40th and Pratt, Mike McKnight, 6 News.
Okay, folks, we got to bang through a headline here. Winfield police officer arrested on suspected DUI. Get a look at this guy. Oh, Lordy. I bet he's suspected of some other things, too, if you know what I mean. Roar. Okay, a Winfield police officer who was arrested June 29th for suspected DUI has since bonded out of jail and remains on administrative leave, according to the local authorities. You mean he's bonded out? The officer, identified as Greg Venable, was arrested in the 1500 block of North College Street on suspicion of DUI, transporting an open container and possession of a firearm while intoxicated. Oh, Lordy, he's in trouble, according to the Cowley County Sheriff David Folletti, whose agency investigated the incident. Let's have a look at this guy. He really does look like, oh man, how am I going to get out of this? Well, your hairdresser's not going to help. Okay. According to Folletti, the Winfield Police Department called KCSO and requested their assistance after the WPD responded to the call and discovered it involved one of their officers. Looky there, right off the bat, they're like, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? It's that guy. After an investigation by deputies, Venable was arrested on the above charges and booked into the Cowley County Jail on $8,000 bond. He posted bond and was released later that day. Folletti said Venable was not on duty when the incident occurred. Are you sure? Hey, looks like he's dressed for duty. You know what I mean? Okay. Anyways, just kidding. Asked why the online jail records does not show Venable's booking, Folletti said the county's IT department set this feature up to only show the past week's worth of jail records. Right. A KCSO activity log shows that deputies responded to a report of an unresponsive male in a truck at the 1500 block of North College Street at 4:22 a.m. What are you doing out there, Venable? On June 29th, however, it does not mention Venable by name or say he was arrested. Venable, okay, he's asked about why this information was not included. Folletti said the activity log entries appear depends on who wrote them that day. Oh, everybody's covering for Venable. They're like, oh, Venable. Pfft. I wonder what condition his britches were in. Online court documents pertaining to the charges against Venable were not immediately available. Oh no, let's just use our imagination, folks. Winfield Police Chief Robbie DeLong confirmed Venable's arrest on Tuesday and said he remains on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. DeLong was unavailable. He's unable to comment on how long the investigation might take, as we're hoping everybody's going to forget about it and move on, saying it's a matter of compiling information and making sure due process is given. Right. They're going to cover for this goofball. He's looking like, I hope they're going to cover for... Don't worry, they're going to cover for you, you goofy weirdo, allegedly.
Well, this judge here was seen cursing in the courtroom and is facing disciplinary action once again. We're learning the state agency who has been looking into his conduct is recommending he be suspended, but it will be up to the Florida Supreme Court to decide what happens next. News 6 reporter Catherine Silver is in Seminole County with this update.
This document is the newly filed recommendations from the Judicial Qualifications Commission. It recommends a 60-day suspension for Judge Wayne Culver, public reprimand, and continued anger management. If that sounds familiar, it's because it is. This is the second time that Judge Culver has faced suspension for his behavior on the bench. Video shows a man enter the courtroom and start looking for a seat. And then,
"Sir, I'm doing something. Can you shut up and sit down?"
This is from 2022.
"That's not shutting up. You want to be held in contempt and go to jail?" "I asked you a question."
After several events during a 2.5-week period, it seemed Judge Wayne Culver would likely be disciplined. But when the commission tasked with investigating allegations of judicial misconduct recommended suspension, the Florida Supreme Court rejected it. That led to a hearing in April where Judge Culver himself admitted he did not act in the proper way. He voluntarily completed a 12-hour anger management course and sought mental health counseling. Since then, we've been waiting for the commission to come out with their new report. In it, they write Judge Culver's actions were more reminiscent of a playground bully.
"You want to be held in contempt and go to jail?"
More than 2 years later, this discipline case is still not over. It will be up to the Supreme Court once again, who gets the last word and decides whether or not this new recommendation will be carried out. It's unclear how long that will take, but if we look at the timeline, last time the court's order demanding further proceedings came out 2 months after the commission came out with their findings. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, getting results, News 6.
With a total of 512 complaints that KCSO has received, the majority is from the public, but the rest, well, is department initiated. After releasing their 2023 annual report complaint statistics, 392 public complaints were made against their employees, with 99 allegations still pending and 27 of them sustained. This chart shows the highest complaint made towards them, 140 complaints towards neglect of duty. The lowest being 1 complaint towards unauthorized computer use, being under the influence of drugs, threats, and fraternization. Though these numbers may raise fear and disappointment in some, Pastor Angelo Frazier, who has also been a volunteer chaplain with BPD for almost 30 years, believes these complaints will help the community become better.
I'm glad that we have a county that can make, that there's a place where they can make those complaints and deal with issues, because that can bring up maybe some issues that may be there. I'm glad that we have that. I don't think we should fear that. I don't think we should run away from that.
Within these past years, Frazier says he's noticed a lot of change, specifically negativity between the public and law enforcement.
If you have one bad apple, then it seems like all the police are bad, and that's not really true.
Complaints were also made against Bakersfield Police, and after taking a look at their use of force annual review for 2023, a total of 562 use of force incidents occurred, with 7 of them being deadly force. Tommy Tucson, former Arvin police chief and currently a criminal justice professor at Bakersfield College, says these numbers have gone up for a reason, all because of transparency. Although both KCSO and Bakersfield Police have different obligations, he says reporting that information back to the community is important for change.
Trust is the key aspect of where we're going in 21st century policing now, is trust. There's always been the type of situations that I know people allude to, like Michael Brown, Rodney King, George Floyd. That's really the genesis of why this is being done. But that has always been in existence. It didn't just start happening 10 years ago.
That's right, and for a full look at both of these reports, you can visit our website, bakersfieldnow.com. Live in studio, Mary Pronian, Eyewitness News.
Dang, a lot of bad apples today and a lot of bad apples tomorrow. So let's wrap it up. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching the Bad Apple Report right here at home on the range every morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. And I'm going to whip up another batch just for you, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Have a great day, folks.